What was supposed to be a romantic dinner turned into a massacre of trust. Jessica met my gaze across the flickering candlelight, eyes glittering, voice like silk dipped in poison. "I've planned something exciting for tonight," she said, her tone playful, until it wasn't. "I invited another man to join us. In bed. I want you to see how it's done," she continued, letting the words slice through me. "Maybe he can give me what you never could in 12 years. The steak in my mouth turned to ash. My fork slipped from my fingers. The metallic clink echoed in the stunned silence. I just stared, frozen. No blink, no breath. My throat cinched tight, as if someone had their hands around it. She took a slow sip of wine, as casual as if she'd just suggested we try sushi instead of Italian. Smug, detached, cruel. I kept my voice level, icy. "If he steps inside this house, he leaves broken," I said. "And you? You'll both be out, naked, ashamed, and paraded for the neighbors. You won't just lose your pride tonight. You'll lose this home, forever." She smirked. "Yeah? We'll see." She stood, dragged her tongue across her bottom lip like a cartoon villain, and sauntered off with her wine glass like she was on a runway. That should have been the end. But the night had one more betrayal to deliver. An hour later, I was home. Alone. No lights. Just the relentless tick of the clock and the storm of questions pounding my skull. Was she serious? God, I didn't want to believe it. But the signs were there. Her touch had gone cold. Excuses. Solo trips. Girls' nights that started before dinner and ended at dawn. Her phone, once an open book, now lived face down, passwords changed. New lingerie. Expensive perfume I never bought. And that scent. It wasn't for me. I was a fool. A loyal, blind fool clinging to 12 years of vows. Then I heard it. A car pulled up. I moved to the window, hidden behind the curtain. A black Dodge Challenger, sleek and arrogant, parked right out front. He stepped out, tall, ripped, smirking like the king of someone else's castle. He fixed his shirt in the mirror, then grabbed a designer duffel from the passenger seat. And then, God, Jessica stepped out too. Heels sharp on pavement. Laughing. Tipsy. Skirt riding high. No shame. She leaned into him like he belonged to her. He wrapped his hand around her waist. She pulled him down and kissed him. Right there. In front of our home. The same door she dressed in lights and fake snow last Christmas. I opened that door. The cold night air met the fire raging in my chest. They froze. Jessica's smirk died. The guy? He chuckled. "Yo, you must be the husband." Tyler, I'd learn later. A gym trainer. Of course. Jessica didn't flinch. Didn't explain. Just tossed a glance over her shoulder. "We're going upstairs." I stepped onto the porch, calm but shaking with rage. My hands curled tight, knuckles white. "One step inside," I warned. "And you're not walking out the same." She brushed past me like I was a pile of trash. "Grow up, Daniel." Tyler tried to follow, and my fist met his face. The crack rang out like a starter pistol. He reeled back, cursing, but I was already between them. "You think this is a joke?" I warned. Jessica turned, her stares sharpened to knives. 12 years of boring. "You think I care if you cry now?" That was it. The moment it all snapped. Not just fury, but brutal, blinding clarity. The woman I loved, she was gone. Replaced by something cold. Calculating. Poisonous. I didn't hit her, but I made my choice. I grabbed her suitcase, the one she packed for her so-called spa weekend, and hurled it onto the lawn. "You want to act like a whore in public?" I said. "Then live like one." And I slammed the door. But behind that slam, something waited. Something far worse. The echo cracked through the house like a gunshot. There was no peace. No silence. Just the raw, gaping void of a man left standing in the ashes of what he thought was love. I stood in the hallway, breath ragged, hands trembling like they belonged to someone else. Outside, Jessica's voice pierced the night, shouting at Tyler to get her suitcase from the soaked lawn, cursing me, calling me pathetic. It all sounded distant, like static behind the roar in my ears. 12 years gone, shattered like it was nothing. I climbed the stairs, every step heavier than the last, and walked into the bedroom. Her scent still clung to the sheets, sweet, polished, fake. The kind of fragrance meant to mask decay. Her side of the closet, once familiar, now looked like a stage costume rack for a stranger I never truly knew. Then I saw it. Her second phone. She always said it was for work. I believed that, or pretended to. But tonight, My gut overruled denial. I pulled it from the drawer. Locked. Of course. But Jessica was arrogant. She never thought anyone would dare dig into her secrets. First try, her birthday. Second, mine. Third, Tyler. Click. It opened. God help me, it opened. The home screen was a photo, her and him on a beach. She wore a bikini I'd never seen, draped over his lap, smiling like a girl without vows, without conscience. Fingers in his hair. His hand wrapped possessively around her thigh. I swiped through the messages. Every vile cliché spilled across the screen. Last night was insane. You know what I like. I keep picturing your hands. He has no idea. Still thinks we're working on us. But then, the dagger. A selfie. Jessica in our bed. Tyler shirtless behind her, flipping off the camera. Caption. He's downstairs. El Mayo. If only he knew. I sat on the edge of the bed, phone limp in my hand, vision swimming. But I didn't cry. Couldn't. I was hollow, scraped clean inside. This wasn't just betrayal. It was humiliation. Premeditated cruelty. A twisted sport. She hadn't cheated. She'd desecrated. I let the phone drop and stared at the floor. How long had I been in love with a ghost? How did I not see her disappearing? The worst part? I blamed myself. For every late night. For every missed sign. For still believing maybe, just maybe, we could heal. But this wasn't a wound. It was a severed limb. And there was no stitching it back together. Then, I heard the door creak open again. Footsteps. Heavy. Not hers. Not his. I reached for the nearest thing, a dusty old baseball bat from the corner, and crept downstairs, heart thudding like war drums. Every sound was a scream. Floorboards moaning. Breathing. A faint cough. I turned the corner, bat raised, and saw Chris, my neighbor, frozen in the hallway, holding a paper bag. Jesus, Dan, he said, hands up. I thought you might need this. He handed me a bottle of whiskey and a pack of cigarettes. I saw what happened out there, he muttered. She's something else, man. I took the bottle, silent. He hesitated, shifting his weight. She's been coming home late a lot. You probably knew. I didn't want to get involved, but I've seen that guy. More than once. Of course he had. Probably everyone had. I'd been the last to know. The punchline in my own life. I nodded, gripping the bottle like it was the only anchor I had left. Thanks, Chris, I said quietly. Really. But inside, something shifted. This wasn't heartbreak anymore. This was war. The whiskey burned its way down, but the fire in my chest was already raging. Chris left. I sat in the living room, the bottle resting between my knees, the silence pressing in like smoke. That second phone still lay on the table. A ticking bomb. I stared at it, dared myself to dig deeper. I didn't need more proof, but some dark, twisted part of me wanted it. Needed to see the full scale of the rot. So I opened it again. Messages from names like catering. Monica. Dry cleaning. But they weren't clients. They weren't friends. Just more men. Different names. Different nights. She'd been juggling 3, maybe 4, men at once. Some threads stretched back months. Others were barely days old. But one caught my eye. A thread labeled my escape plan. What I found inside made my stomach churn. A vile chain of messages between her and someone named Jared. Her whole scheme, laid out like blueprints for betrayal. She was using Tyler, baiting me to explode, to lose control, just so she could brand me abusive, unstable, dangerous. The villain in her exit story. Once he loses it, she wrote, it's mine. The house. Half the accounts. He'll crack. And I'll finally be free. And Jared? That spineless parasite? He replied, you deserve better. Let him burn. This wasn't some random affair. It was a trap, one she'd been setting for months. The silence. The distance. The provocation after provocation. That dinner wasn't spontaneous. It was her final move. Not to fix us. To finish me. And cash in on the wreckage. I stood too fast. My head spun, vision blurring at the edges. My fists clenched, jaw locked. I wasn't sad anymore. I was incandescent with rage. This wasn't just infidelity. It was treason. Psychological warfare waged from the pillow beside mine. I had loved her, trusted her, and she had been engineering my downfall the entire time. Then, her voice outside. Laughing. A knock at the door. Light. Mocking. Daniel. She called in that sugar-coated tone. Come on. You really gonna lock me out? I'm cold. Don't be dramatic. I stayed silent. Another knock. The doorknob rattled, still locked. She sighed, loud and theatrical. You're overreacting. You didn't even come inside. Still nothing from me. Fine, she snapped. Be a little B***tch about it. I'll sleep at Tyler's. Then came the line. Her signature threat. The one I used to chuckle at when she said it to waiters and store clerks. You have no idea who you're messing with. And then, silence. I moved to the window and watched her storm toward the Challenger, heels striking the pavement like war drums. She muttered something to Tyler. They climbed in and tore down the street. I stood there, staring at the road she vanished down. She thought she could destroy me. Thought she already had. But now, I had her phone. Her messages. Her photos. Her lies. All of it. And I wasn't going to shatter. I was going to set fire to her fantasy. I climbed the stairs, opened the safe, and pulled out every critical document. Our marriage license, bank statements, house deed. Spread them across the bed like a general laying out plans for battle. This wouldn't be a divorce. It would be a reckoning. And only one of us would walk away intact. She returned the next morning like nothing had happened. Like she hadn't torched 12 years and laughed while it burned. Starbucks in one hand. Sunglasses on. House keys swinging like a spoiled brat sneaking home past curfew. I was in the kitchen. Calm. Sober. Ready. Her second phone sat on the table beside a thick manila envelope. She paused. Just for a second. Then smiled. You really need to relax, babe, she said, sipping. We both know you're not throwing me out. I didn't move. Tyler drop you off? I asked. She raised an eyebrow. So what if he did? I tapped the phone. You ever heard of emotional murder, Jess? She rolled her eyes. God, don't be dramatic. I told you what I wanted. I didn't sneak around. At least I gave you the chance to be a man about it. No, you gave me a test and prayed I'd fail. I stood, picked up the envelope, and slid it toward her. Open it. She hesitated, then grabbed it, smirking like it was a game, until she saw what was inside. Printed screenshots, emails, photos, every filthy secret from that second phone. Her fingers tightened. Her smile faltered. The crack appeared when she saw the photo, her and Tyler in our bed, him flipping off the camera like he owned the place. You went through my phone, she hissed. You brought it into my house, I said. That makes it evidence. She flipped to the next page. The conversation with Jared. Her blueprint for betrayal. Her mask shattered. You shouldn't have seen that, she whispered. Oh, I said, voice like ice. But it's real. You admit it? I asked, low and cold. She didn't answer. Just dropped the envelope like it was nothing and folded her arms. I was tired of pretending, she muttered. Tired of you. Of this house. Your boring life. Her words hit like venom. You're so safe, Daniel. So steady. Like toast. Like Plains King toast. Then came the real punch. You haven't touched me in months. I tried. You pushed me away. Because I wanted a man, not a roommate. My jaw clenched. I stepped in, the fury rising like a tide. So your answer was to drag me through the mud? To humiliate me in public? Parade some gym rat into our bed. What, hoping I'd snap? So you could play the victim and steal everything on your way out. She blinked. I saw the flicker of doubt, brief, but there. You think I don't know this game? I said. You wanted the house. The accounts. Sympathy. You wanted me to look like the monster. You are a monster, she snapped. Look at you. Snooping through my messages, threatening people, throwing punches. And you, I said, stepping even closer. You planned it. Every cold shoulder. Every lie. Every damn trap. She smirked. And you fell for it. Which makes you the fool. I stared at her, this stranger in my wife's skin. Once, I imagined growing old beside her. Now, I couldn't feel anything but disgust. You're not the woman I married, I said flatly. She shrugged. Good. That girl was weak. No, I said. She was loyal. Loving. And you killed her. Her smile twisted, venom laced through it. So what now? Think you're gonna beat me at this? Take me to court? Drag it all out. I don't need to drag anything, I whispered, leaning in. Because I'm going to strike first. That got her. For the first time, she looked. Really looked. And behind the arrogance, behind the smirk, I saw fear. Good. Jessica didn't come home that night. Just a text, weak and bitter. Hope you're ready to lose everything. Tyler's got a great lawyer. I didn't respond. Instead, I backed up every bite from her second phone. Photos, voice notes, messages, even GPS logs. I found hotel receipts too. One from the night of our anniversary. While I was lighting candles and laying out a gift she never touched, she was wrapped around another man in a downtown suite. Now, every betrayal had a date, a time, a location. The next day, I met Claire Sharp, divorce attorney. Sharp as her name, dressed in black like a soldier. When she flipped through the folder of evidence, her eyes lit up like a pyromaniac handed a match. She messed with the wrong man, Claire said. With this, we'll burn her to the ground. I nodded. No emotion. No fire left on the outside. This wasn't revenge. This was survival. By the end of that day, Claire had filed an emergency injunction. Jessica couldn't touch a dime. The accounts were frozen. The house, locked down. She couldn't sell it, rent it, not even move a chair without court approval. That night, the messages began. You're pathetic. Blocking my card? Real mature. You think you're gonna win? Everyone's on my side. But I could feel the panic behind the words. The cracks forming. The unraveling. She thought she'd broken a soft man. She didn't realize I had claws. And I wasn't done. Chris, my neighbor, came by again. Handed me a flash drive. You'll want to see this, he said. Security footage. From his cameras. They faced my driveway. They caught it all, Jessica and Tyler, kissing under the porch light like it was their home. 6 different nights. One was the night she claimed to be at a friend's baby shower. She wore white that evening. Said it was girls only. But there she was, on camera, legs wrapped around another man before she even reached my front steps. That footage, those texts, the photos, Claire's team assembled it all, then sent her the official papers. The fallout was immediate. She showed up the next day, dressed in remorse. Tight blouse, sunglasses, crocodile tears ready to fall. I made mistakes, she said, voice trembling. But we've been unhappy for a long time. Don't you think we should talk? I didn't open the screen door. Didn't move an inch. You had your chance, I said. Now talk to my lawyer. Her face twisted. You're actually doing this. You did this, I said. I'm just pressing play. She stormed off, middle finger in the air, shouting over her shoulder. You're going to regret this. But I didn't. I was done with regret. She thought she could break me, but all she did was wake me up. 2 weeks later, her world started to crumble. The first crack? Her card got declined at her favorite boutique. I know because she sent me 17 unhinged texts in a row, every single one in all caps. You blocked me out of everything? I have nothing, Daniel. Nothing. You're evil. You're a monster. After everything I did for you. I didn't respond. Not to that. Not to her mother, either. She called 2 hours later, parroting Jessica's sob story, how I was vindictive, financially abusive. Left a voicemail. I listened to 10 seconds, then deleted it. Jessica had spent years painting me as the steady one. The safe, quiet husband. The man who'd take care of things while she found herself. She never expected me to grow a backbone. But now she was watching her whole empire of manipulation collapse, brick by gaslit brick. And Tyler? He cracked next. Turns out gym bros don't do well under pressure. One night, I got a message from an unknown number, no name, just a voice note. I hit play. I knew the voice instantly. Hey man, look, I didn't know she was married, all right? She said you were separated. I wouldn't have messed around if I'd known. Just, don't come after me, man. I'm out. I'm done. I played it twice, then sent it to Claire. By the time the first court hearing rolled around, Jessica looked like a ghost wearing designer sunglasses. The glamour was gone. Her makeup couldn't hide the cracks. She barely made eye contact with anyone. Claire stood beside me like a wolf in heels, slicing through the air with every word. Infidelity, financial misconduct, emotional sabotage, orchestrated provocation. Jessica's lawyer tried to interrupt, twice. Claire didn't flinch, just cut him off with precision. And the judge? He wasn't moved by crocodile tears. Not after the photos, the footage, the receipts, the pages of deceit. When asked to speak, Jessica stammered through a shallow monologue about not feeling seen, about trying to find happiness. The court didn't buy it. Neither did I. By the end, I was granted full control of the house. The accounts were locked down, and I got custody of the dog, the only loyal heart left in that home. Jessica stormed out of court like a broken wind-up doll. She didn't even look back. Outside, I leaned against my car and drew the deepest breath I'd taken in months. Claire smirked, sliding on her sunglasses. You know, she said, flipping her hair, most guys cry in there. Or beg for another chance. You? You didn't say a word. I shrugged. I stopped talking to liars. Saves time. That night, I sat on the porch, whiskey in hand. The dog curled at my feet. Her perfume still lingered in the cushions. Her laughter still echoed in the corners of the house. But it didn't hurt anymore. I wasn't mourning her. I was burying her ghost. Because the woman I loved? She never existed. Just a projection. A mask I wrapped in memory and called love. But she'd planned its murder long ago. And the more I accepted that truth, the freer I felt. Then the rumors started. In a town like ours, scandal spreads faster than wildfire. At first, people were cautious. Whispered. Sent timid messages. Hey, I heard something about Jess. I ignored most of them. But then, the video leaked. Chris's security footage. Jessica and Tyler. Tangled on my porch like horny teenagers. Laughing like they'd won something. I didn't leak it. I didn't have to. Someone on Claire's team accidentally shared it during discovery. Someone else accidentally uploaded it to a gossip page. By noon the next day, half the neighborhood had seen it. Including her job. She worked at a private marketing firm. Reputation was everything. That video, it was a virus. HR poison. 48 hours later, she was placed on indefinite leave. She tried to spin it, of course. Tried to say I was defaming her. Painting her as the villain. But the thing is, you can't sue the truth. Word is, she had a breakdown in her office parking lot. Screaming into her phone about how everything is slipping. She was right. And it was only just beginning. Good. Let it all slip. Because I wasn't just picking up the pieces, I was upgrading. I started running again. Eating right. Sleeping like a damn baby for the first time in years. My inbox. No longer a battlefield of gaslighting and guilt. My home. Finally felt like one. Clean. Quiet. Free. But then came the last twist of the knife. Tyler called. Didn't recognize the number, but I picked up. Curiosity's cruel like that. His voice was hushed, strained, like he was hiding in a bathroom stall. Look, man, I didn't sign up for this. You signed up for my wife, I said. Pretty sure you knew the terms. No, you don't get it, he stammered. She's losing it. She's talking about hurting herself. Were you? Said if she can't win, she'll burn it all down. There was a pause. One that sounded like deep, bitter regret. She told me, you used to hit her. I laughed. Actually laughed. Of course she did. She needs a villain. Always has. I just figured you should know. Watch your back. Click. It wasn't fear that settled over me. Not rage, either. Just clarity. Jessica had reached the desperation stage. Cornered. Mask slipping. And people like her? When they lose control, they become dangerous. So I acted. Tightened the perimeter. Installed cameras, inside and out. Gave Claire full authorization to contact the police. Most of all, I started documenting everything. Every call. Every message. Every slow crawl past the house. All of it went into a folder titled Insurance. Then, rock bottom. She showed up drunk. 2:17 a.m. Banging on the door like a banshee. I checked the camera. There she was, barefoot, mascara streaked down her face, hair wild, screaming my name like it still meant something. I loved you, you coward. I gave you everything. I didn't open the door. Didn't flinch. I just watched as she crumbled to the porch, sobbing into her palms. Then stumbled back to her car and drove off like a ghost running from the sunrise. She thought love meant ownership. Thought loyalty was weakness. But now she knew what happened when a good man stops begging and starts walking away. And I was almost at the finish line. The final hearing fell on a gray Friday. No thunder. No drama. Just steady rain crawling down the courthouse windows, like even the sky wanted to wash the lies away. Jessica showed up alone. No lawyer. No backup. Tyler was gone. Her mother, gone. Her fake friends, long gone. And the mask? Shattered. Her hair was pulled back. Eyes sunken. Dressed in black. Probably thinking it made her look dignified. It just made her look small. I didn't speak. Didn't look her way. Claire did all the talking. Laid everything bare for the judge. The infidelity, the manipulation, the calculated emotional sabotage. This wasn't about a failed marriage anymore. This was about character. And Jessica had none left. No tears this time. No dramatics. Just silence. The kind that only comes when someone finally understands. They've lost everything. 15 minutes. That's all it took. The house, mine. The accounts, frozen, but mostly mine. The dog, mine. Jessica? She got exactly what she built toward. Nothing. Outside, Claire patted my shoulder. It's done. But I didn't feel like cheering. I just felt still. Like the storm had passed, and now I was standing in the quiet wreckage. Jessica was outside, alone beneath a tree, lighting a cigarette with trembling hands. As I walked past, she turned to me, eyes rimmed red, voice barely a whisper. "You really hate me that much?" I stopped, not out of sympathy, not out of spite, but to speak the truth out loud, once and for all. "No," I said. "I don't hate you." She blinked. "I hate who I became because of you." I looked at her, really looked. "You lied, Jessica. You used me. You mocked everything we built like it was some bad joke. And now you're here, wondering why no one's coming to save you." Her lips trembled. "You'll miss me one day," she murmured. I didn't answer. I just walked away. "I already did," I replied. "For years. And now, I didn't anymore." I walked away without a single glance back. That was the real ending. Not the judge's gavel. Not the ink drying on the paperwork. Not the hollow echo of the courtroom. It was the moment I left her behind in every way that mattered. For months have passed. The house is still and alive in a way it never was before. Clean. Quiet. Mine. I repainted the bedroom. Tossed the old bed. Bought a new couch. Solid, dependable. The kind that doesn't creak under lies. The dog curls up beside it every night, his tail thumping softly as he dreams. I've started seeing someone new. Nothing heavy. Just slow walks, soft laughter, easy words without sharp edges. She doesn't ask about Jessica. Doesn't dig. And for the first time in what feels like forever, I don't feel the need to explain. I sleep now. Really sleep. No pacing. No spirals. Just rest. But the scars? They're still there. Not on my skin, on my soul. The quiet kind. The ones that don't ache, but hum. The kind that sharpen your senses to all the little shifts you once ignored. The late-night dismissals. The sideways smirks. The cruel words masked as play. Jessica taught me how to see poison, even when it comes in a silk dress and a familiar scent. And strangely, I'm grateful. If I had one truth to give, it's this. Don't ignore the change in energy. Don't rewrite betrayal into misunderstanding just because it smells like your history. And never mistake chaos for passion. Love doesn't try to break you. It builds you. And now, brick by brick, I'm building myself back. Stronger. Smarter. Free.